Welcome to the Tempo Storm Deck Spotlight series, featuring Control Priest. Control Priest is an archetype that's been around for a very long time. The current iteration of this deck plays out a bit differently than it used to, though. Previous builds would spend the game exhausting their opponent of resources, whereas the current list aims to do this early, then eventually switches to a burn plan built around Shadow Reaper Anduin and Mind Blasts in order to kill their opponent. Control Priest fizzled out of the meta for a short time, mainly due to the prevalence of Druid on the ladder. The deck struggled to compete with Druid's massive armor gain as well as their ability to cheat the mana curve. But with Druid out of the picture, Control Priest is beginning to see play once again. The new Priest spell, Mass Hysteria, has also given the deck more game against aggro, helping push the archetype to a higher power level. This deck has been included in 40% of the lineups at the HCT Winter European Playoffs, making it the second most played deck in the tournament following Secret Hunter. Now, let's break down the general game plan. Control Priest can take on the role of many different playstyles in one given game. Due to how versatile the deck is, players will find themselves choosing among multiple win conditions. Against some opponents, players will aim to remove threats until they run out of them. Against others, players will take on the beatdown role and become the aggressive deck, armed with Alexstrasza and many Mind Blasts. Against aggro decks, your game plan is more in line with older versions of Control Priest. You want to outlast your opponent's pressure while slowly stabilizing behind a few minions. Your key cards in these matchups are Mass Hysteria, Duskbreaker, and even Psychic Scream in the later turns of the game. Try to get as much value out of your removal as you can. Sometimes you can afford to take a bit of extra damage in order to generate a better board clear. Not every Psychic Scream and Duskbreaker has to achieve game-breaking value, but knowing your opponent's power turns can help you respond with the right tools at the right times. Against slower decks, you take on the beatdown role. Use minions to apply some early game damage to your opponent, all while assembling your key cards, such as Shadow Reaper Anduin and Mind Blasts. In some cases, your early damage won't matter too much as you can use Alexstrasza to lower your opponent's health significantly. In the early turns, look to draw as many cards as you can in order to cycle through your deck faster. Don't be afraid to use Divine Hymn in combination with Northshire Cleric to maximize the deck's draw power. Against control decks with armor gain, such as Odd Warrior, look for extra copies of Mind Blast off of Shadow Visions in order to increase the damage that you can output. These matchups are all about maximizing damage as early as you can, in order to ensure that you can outdamage their health gain. In general, your game plan will change from game to game, but these are typical ways Control Priest achieves victories in the current meta. Make sure to always be looking for extra chip damage early, as well as trying to maximize the value you can get from each removal spell when able. Depending on what archetypes you're encountering on the ladder, you can make a few changes to the deck list to play better against matchups you're queuing into more regularly. Against more aggressive decks, you can consider removing Fire Tree Witch Doctor in favor of running Wild Pyromancer. Pyromancer gives you access to another board clear, allowing you to stave off early game pressure. Another card worth considering if you're running into a lot of odd rogue is a copy of Gluttonous Ooze. This card can single-handedly swing the matchup by denying them from snowballing their HenchClan Thug on turn 3. Against slow control decks, add Archbishop Benedictus to your deck in order to make these matchups much better. Your game plan will shift from a burn and cycle-based one into a fatigue plan. With this addition, and by ensuring you minimize card draw, you can easily win in fatigue against most opponents. In conclusion, Control Priest is an archetype that's making a splash with its return to the meta. While it isn't contesting a spot in Tier 1, it's very likely that the deck will only get more powerful as time goes on, and is sure to see play at the Americas and Asian Pacific playoffs. This wraps up our deck spotlight on Control Priest. Thank you for watching, and we hope this video helped level up your Control Priest gameplay. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with our other Hearthstone content. Have a wonderful week!